If it is Tuesday, it must be not Belgium, but Barcelona. Luis Enrique coming back to his former stomping ground, needing to beat his former team to send his current employers through. A perilous situation for the Barcelona legend, up against another legend, of course, in Xavi Hernandez. Couldn't have picked a better game tonight, with obviously updates to be provided from the other game taking place tonight. For now, though, as always, this is the very best of European club football here on the Coach's Corner. And as always, you are welcome. Yes, people, as always, good to have you here tonight. And the title says it all. Barcelona up against Paris Saint-Germain, live from the Estadi Olympique Luis Companys from Barcelona in Spain. Normally it would be the new camp, but that is, of course, undergoing renovation. And I had to make sure I got the stadium name spot on. It would not have looked good if I'd gotten it wrong prior to this game. And, of course, the backdrop, I already mentioned it. Barcelona legendary player and manager Luis Enrique Martinez Garcia coming back to the new camp, needing to beat his former employers and secure passage for Paris Saint-Germain through to the next stage. Of course, you would have had PSG being favourites for this game against a rather callow, it must be said, Barcelona team. But this young team have certainly shown that they are in many ways more than capable of doing really well. And it's definitely going to be not one for the faint-hearted tonight. And, of course, we will provide you updates from the Borussia Dortmund Atletico Madrid clash over at what was formerly known as the Signal Iduna Park. Now, of course, the BVB or the BVB Westfalenstadion in Dortmund in Germany. But, of course, Enrique, of course, causing a lot of controversy with his comments about how he represented the Barcelona identity a lot better than Xavi Hernandez. But, of course, Xavi was one of his big players and, of course, captain of Barcelona. So clearly those comments didn't go down too well. Xavi has had a bit of a difficult season with Barcelona in La Liga and, of course, will be leaving at the end of the season. But the possibility of a Champions League final in London, maybe a possible win, could that persuade him to stay on? We shall see. And, of course, it would be interesting indeed if Barcelona were to play Manchester City in the final, because that would mean another ex-Barcelona manager coming up against his former team trying to stop them from succeeding in the form of none other than Josep Guardiola himself. For now, though, Luis Enrique is the man in the way. Now, before we get over to the stadium, of course, I will share the team news with you. And I can tell you right now that both teams are going to be operating with their standard 4-3-3 formation. Team news, of course, courtesy of our good friends at BBC Sport Online. And one big change for Barcelona is that Sergio Roberto, who captained the team in the first leg at the Parc des Princes, is making way for the number 8, Pedri, who came on as a substitute and made a wonderful impact with an assist for the goal by Rafinha, which equalized the tie before Andres Christensen's winner. Sadly, though, for Barcelona, Christensen will be suspended, but Araujo and Kubasi, Koundé and Cancelo all started in that leg, and they will keep their places. And that's the only change, with Frankie de Jong, Ilkay Gundogan, Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, and, of course, the legendary Robert Lewandowski starting tonight. So it'll be interesting to see who captains Barcelona. Will it be Ter Stegen or will it be Lewandowski? And, of course, plenty of good talent on the bench, the likes of Ferran Torres and also Fermin Lopez, who came on as substitutes. Marcos Alonso, former Chelsea player, of course. João Felix was also on Chelsea's books, as was Oriol Romeo. So I'm pretty certain that Hanno, if he's watching, would like to see a Barcelona win. And as far as PSG are concerned, despite a dreadful display in the first leg, Gigi Donnarumma will continue in goal. There is, of course, a return to the defence for Achraf Hakimi, and he will take his place alongside Marquinhos, Lucas Hernandez and Nuno Mendes, who all started the first leg, of course. As I speak, we got the teams in the tunnel. Warren Zaire Emery comes into the team. in place of Kang In Lee and Lucas Beraldo, who also drops to the bench. Bradley Barcola also comes in. He, of course, replaced Marcos Asensio, and he will take his place in the starting lineup. Apart from that, is Vitinha, who scored the go-ahead goal for PSG, Fabian Ruiz, Ousmane Dembele, the former Barcelona winger, and, of course, Kylian Mbappe. Will this be his last Champions League tie as a PSG player? And, of course, as mentioned, Lopez Beraldo, Kang In Lee, and Marcos Asensio dropped to the bench. Gonzalo Ramos is expected to come on later. Danilo and Ugarte are the options. And, of course, Kilo Navas and Tenas are the replacement goalkeepers. And, of course, do not forget Randall Kolo Muani, who very nearly, of course, won the World Cup for France if it weren't for a certain Emi Martinez. And, of course, PSG have had a sort of a Barcelona curse on them. One notable result, of course, was in the 2016-2017 season when, after conceding 4 goals at the Parc des Princes, Barcelona went back to the Nou Camp and went on to score 6 goals, with the last goal, which won it, scored by a certain Sergio Roberto, very deep into stoppage time. Neymar, of course, got 2 goals in that game, the second one being a 91st minute penalty. Lionel Messi also scored a penalty. Luis Suarez scored the first, and another goal scorer is Levin Kurzawa, who, of course, went on to play for PSG later on. Edinson Cavani scoring in the 62nd minute. And had Sergio Roberto not scored, PSG would have gone through on away goals. A lot of PSG fans could never forgive the team for that collapse. And who was the manager of PSG that evening? None other than a certain Unai Emery, who came back, of course, to the Emirates to play Arsenal, another of his former clubs with Aston Villa, and absolutely put a beating on us. And we see the teams coming out, and I will, of course, mute it so that I can hear the Champions League anthem. And that is, of course, the Champions League anthem, Zodak the Priest. Always a joy to listen to, unlike the Europa League and Conference League's anthems, which are one and the same. And I can tell you right now that it is Marc-Andre ter Stegen who will be captaining Barcelona. And it will be interesting to see how well they fare tonight. A lot of faith being shown in youth by Xavi Hernandez, of course. Ilkay Gundogan, very experienced, a treble winner last season with Manchester City. A lot might be expected of him. And so confirmation that it should be a 4-3-3 and will be a 4-3-3. Kubasi, Pau Kubasi, who impressed in defense in the first leg, takes his place alongside Araujo. Pedri, Gundogan, and Frankie de Jong. Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Lamine Yamal up top, with João Cancelo at left back and Jules Koundé at right back. And as I said, some good talent to come in off the bench. Ter Stegen will captain the team tonight. And we're going to find out who the officials are. We are, of course, on the road to London 2024, Wembley Stadium. And looks as though Ter Stegen is waiting for Marquinhos. Not really a good sign there. Istvan Kovac is the referee from Romania, with Marinescu and Arteni the assistant referees. Fritz and Dankert from Germany will be on VAR duty tonight, in stark contrast to the all-English lineup we had in the first leg at the Parc des Princes. Now, looks as though PSG have won the toss, and I think they've elected to kick off first, so we'll see from where they're attacking. And we should have the PSG lineup any minute now, and we do have it. Donnarumma in goal, undeservedly in my opinion. Hakimi, Marquinhos, Lucas Hernandez and Nuno Mendes from right to left. Zaire Emery, Vitinha, and Fabian Ruiz from right to left. Ousmane Dembele, Bradley Barcola, and Kylian Mbappe in between. So, coverage coming to you live from the Estadio Olímpic Luis Companys in Barcelona in Spain. Once again, Enrique needing to win, but PSG in all white tonight will be up against it. And will it be all white for them on the night? We shall find out. And please, I hope to see some comments coming in. We have, of course, started. I hope a lot of you will be joining us. Didn't quite get to see the exchange between Xavi and Luis Enrique, of course, a former player, former coach in that great Barcelona team back in the day. And Paris Saint-Germain will, of course, be kicking off, and they will be attacking from right to left. So looks as though it's Mbappe who's standing in the center circle, and he should be kicking off proceedings any minute now. And he passes it back to one of his defenders. I believe that is Marquinhos, who tries to send it forward. Koundé getting his head to that, but conceding a throw in the process. It will be Nuno Mendes to take that throw, starting at left back tonight, and has already come a little bit further up. Pass back to Hernandez. Marquinhos. Back to Hernandez. Mendes. And Yamal was trying to chase him down, but Mendes had that under control and passed back to Donnarumma now by Hernandez. Marquinhos now. Hakimi back in the side tonight. And not a very good ball, but somehow it finds its way forward, but not the best of passes, and Barcelona can intercept that and be on their way. It was Pedri who intercepted that. A back pass, though, to Koundé, to Araujo. And that is Frankie de Jong, the number 21, who passes it back to Araujo. Araujo tries to send it forward, but looks as though Pedri was dispossessed there, and very nearly sent through was Mbappe, but not really able to make too much of that in the end. Istvan Kovac, of course, very well sought after, has refereed several matches in the group stages and the second round combined. And not the best of clearances either, because that has sent Fabian Ruiz on his way, but Ruiz wasn't able to get the pass through. And Gundogan wasn't able to get the tackle in. Great work there from Zaire Emery, but Cancelo rather unwittingly, well, not too sure how he didn't concede a corner there, but it's very desperate defending, really, from the Portuguese defender there. But Lewandowski there pushed off the ball by Lucas Hernandez, and Mbappe trying to power his way through, but the impressive Pau Kubasi saying, not tonight. And as promised, we will give you updates on what's taking place at the Westfalenstadion very soon. Vitinha receiving that throw in from Mendes. Marquinhos. Comfortable with the ball. Passes it to, well, it is with Vitinha. I believe that was a Zaire Emery who had received that and passed it to Vitinha. Now it is back with Marquinhos. Sending it across to Mendes. A rather high looping pass, but it reaches its target. Mendes now. Short pass to Vitinha. Back to Hernandez. Fabian Ruiz now. Sending it to Barcola down the left. Ruiz in the penalty area. This could be promising. Araujo unable to make the tackle, but a good clearance there. Vitinha trying to get a shot in, but de Jong, who made the tackle, makes the block. And now, can Barcelona go away? Well, the referee spotted the foul and wanted to play advantage, but with Lewandowski on the floor, a foul has been called. And Marquinhos being given a bit of a talking to there. Marquinhos there, it was, with the foul on Lewandowski, sort of holding him back by his neck, and not a very nice foul to commit there, really. Xavi Hernandez, the Barcelona legend as a player. Retired as a treble winner, of course. And is now head coach of the team. Araujo passing back to Ter Stegen, who will, of course, be Germany's number one at the Euros. Kubasi to Cancelo, back to Kubasi. Kubasi passing it back to ter Stegen, who sends it forward. And that is, of course, eventually received. That was Lewandowski who got that. De Jong now. Araujo. But great work from Barcola. De Jong, however, able to mop that up. Passing it back to ter Stegen. And once again, Barcelona trying to break free, but unable to withstand the PSG press. However, Barca's defending has been spot on. Remember, Barcelona lead 3-2 on aggregate, having secured that brilliant victory at the Parc des Princes. And they will be hoping to try and contain PSG tonight and prevent them from getting a foothold back into the game. Araujo to De Jong. Kubasi seems to have moved all the way to the left with Cancelo trying to overlap. And it is Lamine Yamal, the very impressive youngster, up against Nuno Mendes. And a short pass there to Gundogan, who wasn't able to control it very effectively. And through Hakimi, PSG can try and break forward. Intended pass for Mbappe, finds its target. Mbappe now on the right, up against Kubasi. Passing it back to Dembele. Dembele lets it go to Zayed Emery. Marquinhos. Hernandez. Barcola. And already the comments have started coming in. I promise you I will get to them as soon as we have our first stoppage in play tonight. Marquinhos. And Dembele to Hakimi. Back to Dembele, who's trying to find a way forward, but eventually sends it through the referee's legs to Barcola on the left. Fabian Ruiz in the penalty area, but Araujo standing in his way. Still with PSG, though. Zayed Emery tipping it down to Dembele, and Dembele wins a corner off Cancelo. And now I will try and get to your comments. And we've got Spencer Stewart in the building. Good evening to you, mate. I wish you lot good luck on Thursday, but you lot have got it all to do. And it's not the top of my head. You can see me. I just prefer to crouch down a little bit. Hanno should be joining us later on. A big up to you, Chelsea fan. And we got an update. No goals yet, but Dortmund are really dominating and could have scored. Yeah, he'll be busy. And corner now, of course. Dembele to take it. Right-footed away swinger. Headed away by Lewandowski. And that shall be a throw-in. And then a huge miss there from Alvaro Morata. And, well, we should, definitely. I mean, Chelsea should, for sure. Chelsea do have the momentum. And Gundogan trying to break away, but so far he's looked a little bit off the pace and allowed PSG to come at him. Vitinha to Ruiz now. Back to Vitinha. Wouldn't be surprised if Gundogan is taken off later on for Sergio Roberto, unless, of course, he's able to get his act together. Barcola up against Koundé, passing it back to Nuno Mendes. Mbappe back on the left. Goes past Yamal into the penalty area, and that is hooked away. And that will be a free kick to Barcelona. Keeping the like button, of course. 6 minutes into the Borussia game, it is still 0-0. We're done. We aren't winning anything but the EFL Cup. Don't lose hope. You never know what can happen in this crazy game. Cancelo should probably have a bit of a busy night tonight, but wonderful work there from Mbappe. I think they were appealing for a penalty, but it clearly hit Koundé on his backside, or maybe his tailbone. Nuno Mendes. That was passed back by Zayed Emery to Hernandez. Marquinhos to Dembele. And with Hakimi, who passes it back to Dembele. Hakimi having gone very forward, but an unfortunate slip from the Frenchman. Dembele, not Mbappe, that is. And that will be a Barcelona throw. Fair to say that PSG are probably having the better of the early exchanges, but still haven't forced ter Stegen into making a save of note. And given how shoddy Donnarumma's goalkeeping can be at times, it's imperative that the PSG defense is watertight tonight. Vitinha under pressure from De Jong, but the referee ends up giving Barcelona a free kick. Frankie De Jong there, of course, Dutch international. I'm aware of that, Spence, and obviously the defending has, gone down a bit. And with the news that Connor Bradley will be out for about 3 weeks, it's not the best of news. But look, I think there might be a bit of an issue with Virgil van Dijk. There was an issue at the beginning of the season. He had recovered. I think it might be fair to say that it's time to take the captaincy away from him and give it to someone like maybe Andy Robertson. Again, you just never know what can happen, but I completely understand. And Chelsea fan agrees with me. And so back to the action. Mbappe sending that across the field to Barcola. Landing it right on a sixpence. Barcola in the penalty area. Trying to get past Koundé, but Koundé applying some really good pressure. Sending it out to Vitinha. Marquinhos. Hakimi. Marquinhos. Nuno Mendes and Fabian Ruiz wasn't going to get on the end of that, and that will be a Barcelona throw. Barcola, of course, came on for Asensio at halftime in the first leg and had an immediate impact down the wing, which is why Enrique has opted to start him tonight. That should be a PSG throw. And I will take a look at the score. And 8 minutes have been played. Still no goals at the Westfalen Stadion, rather. Lucas Hernandez. Mendes under pressure by Yamal, and the ball is lost. Gundogan now. Short pass to Frankie De Jong. De Jong is able to get it, but Zaire Emery is sticking to him like glue. De Jong eventually sends it across to Yamal on the right. Pass back to Koundé. De Jong. And Emery putting De Jong under some pressure, but Kovac awards a free kick Barcelona's way. And that will give Barcelona a chance to breathe a little bit and maybe start something. Yamal to Gundogan, back to Yamal. Koundé. Araujo. Across to Yamal on the wing. Yamal controls that with his head and keeps it in play. Very well done. Skins Nuno Mendes into the penalty area. Barcelona are 1-0 up. Now, I'm not too sure whether that was a goal by Rafinha or an own goal, but I think they're not going to care. They are going to make sure they take that. And I'll tell you what, Enrique could now very well be in trouble because as it stands, after 12 minutes, Barcelona are 4-2 up on aggregate, 1-0 up on the night. And we're going to find out the identity of the goal scorer, but some terrific counter-attacking work there from the right. Yamal very much the architect of that, skinning Nuno Mendes to get into the penalty area. And Rafinha was there, right place at the right time. Beautiful work there from Yamal, skinning Koundé really, and that burst of pace is what did him in. And we're going to take a look at a better angle to see who got the final touch. Rafinha might want to claim that. I think it does go in off Rafinha. But Yamal deserves the plaudits for that, and he is, of course, taking in the acclaim. And now Paris Saint-Germain have it all to do. And Donnarumma once again under pressure. This time PSG are able to clear their lines, but that should be easy for Koundé to pass back to Marc-Andre ter Stegen. And boy, have we got a wonderful game on the cards. It will be interesting to see if PSG can come back from this, but I think the Barcelona curse may very well be striking again. And all Luis Enrique can do is look down. Just as well that they aren't back at the new camp. And it is confirmed that it was Rafinha who got the final touch, so After 12 minutes, Barcelona increased their aggregate lead to 4-2, and they are 1-0 up on the night. And the prospect of a mouth-watering semi-final, either an all-Spanish affair against Atletico Madrid or another German-Spanish classic against Borussia Dortmund, will be beckoning. But at the moment, they still have about 76 minutes plus stoppages to negotiate. And there's Barcola down the left wing. Goes past Koundé, but unable to really go further because Koundé pretty much stood in his tracks. Ter Stegen mopping that up, saying muchas gracias, or vielen dank in his language. Rolling it over to Kubasi, who passes it back to his goalkeeper. And then trying to send it across to Koundé, but does he keep it in play? No, he doesn't. I think it probably went out of play before he could head it, and I think it ended up going further out anyway. Ter Stegen, of course, long-time goalkeeper who's been at Barcelona for many years now. Marquinhos. Hernandez. Barcola. And he sends Ruiz down the left. Ruiz up against Pedri. The two number 8s, and Ruiz gets the better of him, but Araujo is there to help out. A little bit of a push or a wrestle down, but the referee doesn't mind that one bit. And Yamal prevented from breaking even further by Barcola, and that will be a throw. And obviously confirming everything. And I will get to this question later on. But you're absolutely right. PSG are in big trouble. Great start by Barcelona. And in the other game, it is still 0-0 at the moment. I will, of course, take a look at the update at the situation of that match as and when things happen. And Istvan Kovac obviously trying to encourage the play to go forward, and not the best bit of play there. Ball being sent out of play. Not the best pass from Kubasi for a throw. Back to Marquinhos, who passes it back to Donnarumma. Donnarumma to Hernandez. Nuno Mendes. Ruiz. And that is Vitinha now, who goes forward. How PSG could do with a goal from him, just as they got at the Parc des Princes. Barcola. Ruiz sending it into the penalty area, but nobody on the end of that. And Cancelo wasn't willing to take any chances with that. And it goes out for a corner off the corner flag. Short corner, pass into the penalty area, but the header from Mbappe goes over the bar. Looks as though Barcelona might be quite happy to soak up some of the pressure from PSG and then maybe hit the Parisians on the counter-attack. And once again, Kubasi has had a really good game so far. More than holding his own. A risky pass there from Ter Stegen, but eventually Pedri is able to pass that to his fellow youngster, Kubasi. Kubasi now trying to send it forward. And that is rather disappointingly sent all the way back. Araujo now receiving that ball. He's got Koundé on his right, but opts to pass it forward. And that is sent across the field, but a very weak pass. Falling into Nuno Mendes' path. Passing it to Hernandez. Receives it back. Mendes passing it back to Hernandez. To Marquinhos this time, trying to switch the attack from the left to the right. Going back to center with a pass to Hernandez and to the left to Mendes. Back to Hernandez, all sideways stuff so far. Marquinhos. This time it's Hakimi to Vitinha. Well, that was Zaire to Vitinha because Hakimi's actually just gone bursting forward. Looks as though Zaire will be expected to play the role of the deep-lying midfielder. And a foul there, I think, on Kubasi. Dembele stepping on the youngster's foot. And I tell you what, when those studs get into your feet, boy, it hurts like bilio. Marquinhos. Hernandez. Nuno Mendes. Back to Hernandez, who sends it to the right this time, hoping to find Hakimi, and he doesn't. Intercepted very well there. De Jong, Pedri. Pedri sending it forward and finding... Well, that was a wonderful pass there, and Donnarumma desperately having to keep that out of play. And Gundogan there now getting into the game, very much an architect of that move, but Pedri once again doing really well indeed. Kovac has seen something that he doesn't really like. Mbappe losing out to Araujo there. And some great work there from into the penalty area, and the danger isn't cleared. Well, that probably wasn't too far away, but it definitely wasn't close enough. Lewandowski with the turn and the shot. And it just went over the bar. But some great work here. It is Rafinha doing some terrific work down the left. Turn and the shot, trying to give himself some room. Might have been claims for a corner there. Looks as though it went off Nuno Mendes' back, but the referee determining otherwise. And so 20 minutes and 30 seconds gone. It is Barcelona 1, Paris Saint-Germain 0, 4-2 on aggregate. And the French look as though they will be saying au revoir to the Champions League once again. Koundé receiving the pass from Ter Stegen. Eventually keeps it in play, but loses out to Nuno Mendes. Mendes doing quite brilliantly to get past Pedri there. And wins the throw off Yamal. Throw back to Hernandez. Marquinhos. Back to Donnarumma, who sends it all the way across to... Looks like Hakimi to me. Zaire Emery coming back. Receives that pass from Hakimi. Under pressure now from Gundogan and Cancelo. Eventually, Hakimi sends it forward, but Barcelona headed back. And this is really good stuff from Barcelona. Putting more and more pressure on the Parisians to try to get away. Cancelo, not quite able to go forward. Zaire Emery. Marquinhos. Back to Donnarumma. Nuno Mendes. And Yamal concedes a throw, but they are still deep in PSG territory. I think Yamal's claiming that he should have gotten that throw, but now we got Wolfgang division of the building. Big up to you, mate. And we do have some championship action going on, thanks to Chris Mossing, the Saski Guna. 1-0 to the Saints. Che Adams, of course. PSG are the French Tottenham Hotspur. I can't disagree with that, to be honest. The big difference, though, is PSG do win the Liga title more often than not. And we see the PSG top brass sitting there, not very happy indeed. Wouldn't be surprised if Luis Enrique is given his P45 at the end of the season. Another Champions League failure is simply not acceptable. Fabian Ruiz, Zaire Emery. Under pressure, of course, from De Jong and Rafinha. De Jong now sends it forward, hoping to find Rafinha. Rafinha with a burst of pace, but he was never going to be fast enough to stop that ball from going out of play. And Marquinhos leaves it to Hakimi to take the throw. Dembele receiving it, but well, that was De Jong there who was trying to make a nuisance of himself and intercept that header back, but inadvertently conceding another throw. Hakimi, Marquinhos, sending it forward into no man's land, and Barcelona end up getting it back, and a Oh, the speculative header into the penalty area there from Gundogan. Nobody on the end of that. And Mendes receives the ball from Donnarumma. And that is Mbappe sending it to Barcola on the left. He's got Ruiz on his right. Into the penalty area, but Koundé sends that out for yet another PSG corner, this time on the other side. Jules Koundé, of course, pretty much established as the first choice right back for the France national team ahead of Benjamin Pavard. Dembele with the corner, right-footed in swinger, and I think it swung in a little bit too much into the side netting. And ter Stegen probably did have that covered, but I'll tell you what, if that had a little bit more, if that had probably gone further in and then swung, it would have caused a few problems. But at the moment, Barcelona is sitting pretty at the close to the 25-minute mark, and we will be clocking that in the next 5 seconds. 3 attempts by Paris Saint-Germain and 3 corners, but Barcelona have had 2 attempts. But crucially for them, one of them has been on target. And PSG, of course, have had more of the possession, approximately 60%, but not quite been able to do very much with it. Barcelona's defense has been outstanding. Barcola sending it down the wing to Ruiz, who collects that. Ruiz up against Pedro. I think Pedro has been given the directive to mark Ruiz out of the game. And Mbappe trying to send it in, but Araujo heading it in the air. Still not... Now it's out of the penalty area, but still not quite away from danger. Mendes controlling that, doing brilliantly to get past Pedri, and wins the corner off... well, for some reason, it's not given a corner. I believe it's given a goal kick. Was there an offside flag, perhaps? Yeah, the last touch actually came off Mendes. I think Mendes was oblivious to the fact that it hit his leg and went behind. Ter Stegen with the kick, sending it forward to Koundé, who receives that. And despite the best efforts of Barcola, Koundé is able to control that, and Araujo can send that forward. Not to any of his teammates, though, and PSG win the ball back. Vitinha now sends it to Dembele on the right. Dembele with a shot, blocked by Cancelo. Cancelo cancelling that shot, you could say. And... Marquinhos now. Hernandez. Nuno Mendes. Sending it across to Marquinhos again. Hakimi. Dembele. Sending it across to Barcola on the left, who's found some space. In the penalty area. Top save from Ter Stegen. And so finally... PSG have a shot on target, but the German goalkeeper is equal to that. I believe it was Mbappe who had the shot. Short corner to Mendes from Dembele. Dembele then whips it in. A dangerous-looking shot, that. And a header there, effectively cleared almost off the line. And Barcelona now have to try to break forward. Lewandowski sending it forward to Rafinha on the left wing. And PSG are running back. And Hakimi blocking that in an unorthodox manner and inadvertently conceding a throw. But we're going to take a look at this. Barcola, again, a threat on the left. Given so much space. You thought that Mbappe would have had a tap in, but Ter Stegen equal to that. Another header from Mbappe, but this time Jules Koundé, right place at the right time, heads that away. And that is Cancelo, who passes it all the way to Pedri. That is De Jong now. Koundé. And a disappointing pass back all the way to Ter Stegen. Kubasi. Now with Pedri. Araujo. De Jong. Back to Araujo. And hoping to find Yamal, but Mendes doing some really enterprising work. A great interception there. And I believe Istvan Kovac Well, he's awarded a free kick, and that will be a... Oh, it's a red! A straight red for Araujo. Well, I'll tell you what, that was a poor pass there in the middle, and Nuno Mendes did some brilliant work intercepting that and effectively sending Barcola on his way. I'm not too sure who's been given the red card. It looks as though Araujo was the last man. Yep. Barcola sent on his merry way, and the foul is outside the penalty area, so it will be a free kick. But more dangerously, though, Barcelona are down to 10 men. Araujo deemed to be the last man, denying a goal-scoring opportunity. And so according to the letter of the law, Araujo has to go. And of course, an update. We are coming up to the half-hour mark. I will take a look at the other game right now and see. And you are absolutely right, Spence. We're just clocking half an hour in that game. It is still Dortmund 0, Atletico Madrid 0. A bright beginning, but probably become a little bit more cagey at the moment. But still, a lot of protestations going on. And we've just clocked a half hour at the Stadio Olympic. A direct red card for Ronald Araujo, and he has got to go. So it will be interesting to see what formation Barcelona now employ. Could it very well be that Gundogan will be forced to go back into the defense, or could it be a 3-3-3? I'm not too sure they can afford to play a 3-3-3 with Mbappe and Barcola now looking very dangerous, but Barcola there, wonderful turn of speed. Great interception there from Nuno Mendes to send Barcola on his way. And so it will be Dembele standing over the free kick. And this red card, of course, could change a lot of things. Araujo, of course, will be suspended for the semi-final if Barcelona do hold on to win. And, of course, with there being no away goals now, Paris Saint-Germain need to score thrice to get through. Dembele with the free kick. And that wasn't a bad effort, but just didn't dip low enough. Could very well be that Gundogan will have to take his place in the back four with Pedri, De Jong, and maybe Lewandowski to form a three-man midfield. Lamine Yamal and Rafinha being the two men up front. But we will see. It could very well end up being that De Jong ends up going back inside. Gundogan had a bit of a slow start, but has grown into the game. We will see what Xavi ends up doing. You bet, Wolfie. I mean, Spencer. And some brilliant skill there from Lewandowski, but when you got 3 against 1, there's only going to be one winner. And the ball sent forward to Mbappe, but Koundé with a great interception there. And steering it past Barcola, hoping to find Yamal, but you can see now that PSG's strength in numbers could very well be the difference. Mbappe hoping to set Zaire-Emery on his way, but I believe that was Kubasi who cleared that. Back to Vitinha, though. Back to Vitinha again, who finds Barcola on the left. Sending Ruiz on his way, but not too sure what Ruiz was trying to do there. Too close to the goalkeeper, and ter Stegen's able to fall on top of that. And all Araujo can do is sit and watch. If Barcelona do end up exiting at this stage, I think he will literally be distraught and inconsolable. He still can't believe the decision, but that was the only decision that could be made. A nice bit of play there from Lewandowski, hoping to send Rafinha through, but Marquinhos equal to that, sending that out for a Barcelona throw. And now a lot of work for Xavi and his technical staff. And it looks as though they've made a change. So surprisingly, Yamal, who did some brilliant work for the first goal, has been taken off. And Inigo Martinez is coming on. Now, I'm not too sure why you'd want to take off that brilliant youngster. I'm really not. So it now means that Gundogan and De Jong will stay where they are, and it will be Rafinha and Lewandowski as the two men up front. A huge gamble there because Yamal was looking very dangerous. I suppose it might be fair to say that with greater strength in numbers, Enrique might have told the boys to treble team Lamine. So maybe there's some sense in that. And clearly with Barcola, Ruiz, and Mbappe and company looking more dangerous now, defensive reinforcements are a priority. Yamal sending that all the way to Hakimi. Dembele. And a foul there puts pay to that attempted Barcelona attack. Lewandowski on the ground now. I can just imagine Inigo Martinez coming on. If any of you are fans of the Princess Bride film, you might remember this similar dialogue. Hey, my name is Inigo Martinez. You got my teammates sent off. Prepare to lose. Chris, if you're in the chat, you might remember that film. And it wasn't Inigo Martinez, it was Inigo Montoya. I think Spence definitely gets that reference. And Chelsea fan, you're right. Barcelona will probably be sitting back to try and defend. And maybe, I mean, they were obviously trying to hit PSG on the counter, and it worked. But they will probably become a little bit more defensive now with Yamal off the field. And it's De Jong standing over this free kick. A short one, and I'm not too sure what he was trying to do there. De Jong holding his hand up in an apology, but that will mean nothing if PSG score from this. Barcola now receiving that pass from Ruiz. Sending it back to Vitinha in the middle of the park. All the way across to Hakimi. Dembele. Zaire Emery, back to Dembele, back to Marquinhos. Hernandez. Mbappe. Mendes. Vitinha. Marquinhos now sending it across to Dembele on the right. Dembele doing well to get past Cancelo, and he keeps it in play beautifully, but Gundogan is there, right place at the right time. Passing it out to his one-time Manchester City teammate, of course, and that will be a throw to Barcelona. A little bit more respite for the Spaniards. Great work here from Ousmane Dembele. Just keeping it in play from the looks of it. Remember, the ball has to completely go across the line. And I do believe that with the goal line technology for moments like that, the referee and the linesman will be informed. That Nuno Mendes forced into conceding a throw. Great work there from Koundé. Possibly might have to overlap a little bit. Kubasi. Chipping it forward, but no one on the end of that, and Nuno Mendes should mop that up, which he does. Fabian Ruiz passing it back to Mendes. We see Pedri, Gundogan, and Lewandowski trying to make nuisances of themselves, but PSG well in control. Marquinhos to Dembele. Dembele going past Rafinha. Can he skin Cancelo? No, Cancelo with an important piece of defending. And bundled over there by Hakimi, his fellow number 2. And that will be a Barcelona free kick. And a huge update. Thank you very much indeed, Spence. It is 1-0 to Dortmund in the other game. And it was Julian Brandt who very nearly equalised with the last bit of action at the first leg, who got the goal. So 2-2 on aggregate right now. Thank you very much indeed. And I will, of course, update that particular scoreline as we go along. If it stays that way, then we could very well be heading into extra time and penalties. And if it does go to extra time and penalties, I will make sure that you are treated to that. That is a promise, a little bit of a bonus, courtesy of the Coach's Corner and my own generosity. Bear in mind that It's very late in my neck of the woods. Vitinha to Zaire-Emery, back to Marquinhos. Marquinhos across to Barcola. What a nuisance he has been. How can he be given so much space on the left? Barcola to Vitinha, back in the middle now. And Vitinha showing some pretty good footwork. Sees Barcola, who gets into the penalty area. In! And PSG have equalised, but... Yep, they have equalised. On 40 minutes, I would say. And you just knew that the extra man would come into question. But wait, has the goal been disallowed? It looks as though the goal has been disallowed. It looks as... No, it hasn't been disallowed. And I think booking was given over there to one of the Barcelona players. Great work here from Vitinha, drawing the defence with him. I think they're claiming an offside, which wasn't given. And not the best of defending. Dembele escaping Cancelo's best attentions. And... sending it into the roof of the net. No chance for Ter Stegen. And so PSG still have some work to do, but this goal will definitely give them a great deal of confidence. Barcola, once again, outstanding. And that's the type of goal that is fit to win any match. It is going through a VAR check for a possible offside, but I think they should, in fact, confirm it. And Araujo now in the stands, not a very happy chappy at all. He knows that his sending off has very well altered the complexion of the game. Barcelona still ahead on aggregate, but 1-1 on the night. And it is confirmed that that goal was scored in the 40th minute. And once again, PSG relentless. Can they get another one? This time, Cancelo does his duty. And Inigo Martinez is there to mop up, and he does brilliantly to win the throw for Barcelona off the onrushing Hakimi. And it was the substitute Martinez who was given that yellow card for... The reason why was because the boy doth protest too much. But crucially as well, Mbappe was given a yellow card. Might have been a melee in the penalty area from the looks of it. And well, I am trying to take a look at the match, but I'm also taking a look at some of the updates. And thanks to you lot, apparently Borussia Dortmund are now 2-0 up, and I want to make sure I want to find out who the goal scorer was. It was Maatsen, of course, wonderful. Ian Maatsen, who was, of course, partially at fault for Atletico's open in the first leg, who's got the goal. Wonderful bit of redemption from him. And I'll tell you what, Atletico are in some trouble. But obviously, though, as English football fans, we're not going to be quite happy with this, because with the Germans doing really well, it means that they are still ahead in the coefficient table, and that means we might not get to have an extra team in the Champions League. Martinez there playing... Yeah, there really was no question of an offside there, and Martinez, in any case, was playing them on. And you can see how much that goal meant to Luis Enrique. Always a place for Barcelona in his heart, but now very much trying to win this for Paris Saint-Germain tonight. And a short goal kick from Ter Stegen ends up with Barcola, who sends it into, I think that was Zaire-Emery, who was trying to make the most of that, but Barcelona win the ball. Gundogan sending it to Rafinha on the right, and impeded there by Nuno Mendes, and that will be a Barcelona free kick. So some respite there. There will be plenty of stoppages, you would imagine. It might not be the Spuds who will be hosed, because I know Aston Villa played magnificently and secured fourth place again, but they do have a game in hand, Tottenham, and a goal difference of 3 behind Villa. So if they manage to turn on the style in their game in hand, you never know what can happen. And don't forget, Villa also have the Conference League to play for. They will be in action on Thursday. You just never know what can happen in this crazy, crazy league at the moment. Interestingly enough, when it comes to fourth place, both Spurs and Aston Villa are trying to play hot potato with it. And I wouldn't be surprised if the likes of Newcastle and maybe one or two others could end up catching up to them. Villa may perhaps have gotten some confidence back, but we will see. Barcola now down the left. Into the last minute of normal time. Can PSG get a go-ahead goal? Great work from Barcola, but obviously trying to do a little bit too much there. Not too sure whether he was trying to shoot or cross with that left foot of his. And that goes all the way out. Twisting Koundé always to Sunday. Beautiful stuff there. It just goes to show staying teetotal is always the best idea. You go to a bar or a pub and order a cola. Bar cola. I had to do that. Spurs' game in hand, I do believe, will be against Chelsea. So that's going to be tasty. Maybe Pochettino will have a final say in everything. And Chelsea, of course, as you lot have said in the chat, are gaining some very good momentum. But this is, of course, the same Chelsea team that drew at both Burnley and Sheffield United. Just goes to show this league has literally been schizophrenic in many ways. Rafinha there. I think Ruiz won the ball fairly, but yeah, that was a good piece of play there from Ruiz. But Pedri sent tumbling. And the referee and the linesman have confirmed that there will be 3 minutes of time added on. And Ruiz has, in fact, received a booking there for sending Pedri to the floor. Certainly looked painful, that. It wouldn't surprise me, mind you, if there was another red card dished out in this game. They could catch United, but they are all over the place. You're absolutely right. And a rather unsportsmanlike piece of play there from Fabian Ruiz. A yellow card, the only option. And of course, with this lengthy delay, that will be 1 more minute added. And Enrique at the moment is not a happy chappy. Interesting fact, of course, about the Stadio Olimpico Luis Companys. This was, of course, the main stadium for the 1992 Barcelona Olympic Games. A recap, of course, Yamal doing some brilliant work down the right, skinning Nuno Mendes, and Rafinha getting the better of Achraf Hakimi. Right place at the right time, and Guardiola powerless to stop that going into the net. Barcelona in dreamland. Xavi in ecstasy. And Pedri there receiving some nose gauzes from a bleeding nose. So that will be at least 1 minute of time added to the stoppages that have been awarded. Gundogan now standing over this free kick. Chipping it forward. And that goes over Lewandowski and straight into the hands of Donnarumma. Hernandez. Nuno Mendes. Barcola's all on his own, and why they keep giving Barcola that much space on the wing, I don't know. Koundé's supposed to be a right back. He's supposed to be sticking to him like glue. So at the moment, it's Rafinha who might be in that vicinity. Mendes has the ball. Chips it into the penalty area, hoping to find Dembele, which he does. And I tell you what, that shot from Dembele, and he knows it, that was not far away, went across the goal. Ter Stegen was beaten hook, line, and sinker, but thankfully for him and thankfully for Barcelona, so was the goal. Indeed. The 2nd of May at the bridge. Pochettino once again hoping to try and upset his former employers. There's no way Kovac will blow the whistle, and a wonderful header there from Lewandowski trying to send Rafinha on his way, but good defensive work from Mendes sends that out for a throw. We should probably be playing 1 to 1.5 minutes of extra stoppage time to compensate for that lengthy Pedri injury. Lewandowski double teamed at the moment, but Koundé now trying to overlap, but Barcola onto him. But Lewandowski wins the ball. A short pass to Gundogan, and not the best pass from Gundogan, hoping to find Pedri, but De Jong eventually trying to... eventually Koundé is able to kick that high in the air, and Cancelo ends up sending that forward, but Marquinhos should be able to mop that up fairly effectively. Pass back to Donnarumma, the big Italian goalkeeper who made headlines, of course, for winning the Euros with Italy in 2021, but was also the goalkeeper who was partially at fault for Italy failing to qualify for the World Cup. Never won a Scudetto with AC Milan. One of the most overrated goalkeepers in world football today. And I have received confirmation that it is half-time at the Westfalen Stadium, and the Germans are, in fact, in dreamland. I've already prepared the banner just in case. But thank you both very much indeed for the updates. And we will, of course, be taking you to the end of the first half here, as expected. It looks as though there could be 2 minutes, and a poor pass there from Kubasi. Barcola with the ball through the middle, finds Mbappe on the left. Ruiz now into the penalty area. And Kubasi makes amends for his poor mistake there by conceding a corner. But the corner will not be taken, because that is half-time at the Stadio Olimpico. And I will, in fact... pretty much make this banner and confirm everything for you. A half-time at the Stadio Olimpico, a riveting first half of play. Barcelona taking the lead after some great work, and it looks as though one of the members of Barcelona's coaching staff has been given a yellow card by referee Kovac. And what started as a dream evening for Barcelona could very well turn up into a nightmare if they end up going out. A dream start for them. Great work by Yamin Lamel down the right, skinning Nuno Mendes and finding Rafinha, right place at the right time to put them ahead. But a needless sending off, really, of Ronald Araujo and Ousmane Dembele restoring some parity in the 40th minute. PSG having more chances to take the lead, but not quite able to make the most of it. And Barcelona, since that sending off, have pretty much had to effectively, if not park the bus, at least be a lot more defensive. So half-time from the Estadio Olímpic Luis Companys in Barcelona. It is Barcelona 1, PSG 1, 4-3 on aggregate. And a confirmation that at half-time from the Westfalen Stadium in Dortmund, it is Borussia Dortmund 2, Atletico Madrid 0. And, let me just change the scores here. How very, very, very negligent of me. My apologies to all of you. Much better. Julian Brandt and Ian Matson with the goals as Dortmund take a shock 3-2 aggregate lead against Atletico Madrid. I'll tell you right now that Atletico were very lucky to have won their second round clash against Inter Milan. The Italians were the better team, but couldn't take their chances. And it was Jan Oblak who was the hero in the penalty shootout. But this time around, the Spaniards are in trouble. And some more comments. Chelsea fans saying Spurs should beat you anyway. I'm not too sure. I think Spurs might look to be also a little bit up and down. A very schizophrenic team under Postecoglou. And we will, of course, see how things go about, how things pretty much, materialize. Interesting to see what sort of team talk Xavi will be giving his boys in the dressing room, telling them to try and stick together. It wouldn't surprise me if Gundogan is taken off, because although he did start to look a little bit better with some good work in the midfield, he was looking a little bit slow and ponderous. And it could very well be that if Barcelona give the ball away in midfield, then you can just expect that with Vitinha, Zaire-Emery looking really dangerous, and of course Ruiz and Barcola waiting to pounce, and of course Mbappe and Dembele looking very ominous indeed. There's no way that Barcelona can afford to be slow and ponderous in the midfield. So it wouldn't surprise me if Gundogan is taken off. And it could very well be that I think Fermin Lopez could possibly come on, along with João Felix, to lend a little bit of creativity. This wouldn't be a bad substitution either. Maybe he can try and burst through. Ferran Torres is another option. As far as PSG are concerned, no need for any real substitutions. You could certainly bring on the likes of Gonzalo Ramos and Kang In Lee later on. Kolo Muani in case you need a goal. And pretty much very finely poised at the moment. So as it stands, the home teams now lead the away teams on aggregate. But both matches are very finely poised, and I am delighted, of course, to be here bringing this to you on the Coach's Corner. Tomorrow, sadly, I won't be here because I will be doing a watch-along with Danny AFC TV, my good mate Danny Fishman, of course, and we will be covering the Bayern Munich Arsenal game from the Allianz Arena. And, of course, I do know that the Etihad Stadium in Manchester will be host to Manchester City against Real Madrid Part 3. Who will take the lead in that series? We'll find out. Not too sure what that hand signal meant from Araujo there. And, of course, we will provide highlights from the Dortmund game as it's happened. But our main focus, of course, is Barcelona against Paris Saint-Germain. Big up, of course, to the Sony Sports Network for providing some really good coverage over here in India. And Araujo could be a big miss because it was his pass, of course, that sent Yamal on his way. And Yamal really skinning Nuno Mendes with a fine turn of pace. And Rafinha doing some brilliant work there. Hakimi not quite wise to that Brazilian. And Barcelona 1-0 up, 4-2 up on aggregate, and staring at the possibility of a dream win. But PSG clearly had other ideas. That big, clumsy oaf Donnarumma was dazed and couldn't do anything about it. And so a nice stat here. Rafinha is the first FC Barcelona player to score 3 goals in a single Champions League quarter-final tie since his fellow Brazilian Neymar in 2014-2015, also against Paris Saint-Germain. And that year, Barcelona beat Paris Saint-Germain en route to the treble. Luis Enrique was coach, and Xavi Hernandez was, of course, a big part of that team too. Ironic that those two are adversaries tonight. And a pretty poor pass in the midfield, intercepted brilliantly by Nuno Mendes. Effectively, it was a nice left-footed pass, which sent Barcola on his way. Brilliant turn of pace, which left Araujo for dead. Araujo almost having no option but to impede him, really. Maybe Ter Stegen could have timed himself and come out a little bit, but yeah, I think maybe if the goalkeeper had come out a little bit quickly, Araujo wouldn't have felt the need to do that, but still an inexcusable piece of defending there from the Barcelona defender, and it has put his team very much on the back foot. Sucks to be you, Chris. Sucks to be you. And then, of course, we see the PSG equaliser. Great work from Vitinha in the middle of the park, receiving that pass, of course. Twisting Gundogan always to Sunday, sending it back to Barcola on the left, who finds the pass in, and Cancelo losing his man, not keeping track of his man. Dembele there, right place at the right time, sending it into the roof of the net. And we are finally poised at the Luis Companys. Nou Camp, of course, is under reconstruction, and it will, of course, be renamed the Spotify Nou Camp. Yeah. Apple Music over Spotify any day of the week. And I can't see Arsenal overtaking City in the Premier League. We had a discussion on this on a couple of shows. Earlier on today, I was on Mr. Beehive, a football chat debate show, of course. And we were talking about the run-ins, and City obviously have the easier run-in. All we can do right now, Spence, is just make sure that we get our mojo back and start winning our games. But history will tell us that when we lose a game like this and get into a road bump, we just don't seem to be able to recover. I wouldn't say they bottled it. There's still some way to go. Just as the season doesn't start in January, the season doesn't end in April. Still some time left, and we will see. And there have been more PSG chances, of course. And from the subsequent free kick, of course. I think the analysts are talking about how Dembele has run hot and cold, but you can't really have any complaints against the guy who got you back into the tie, really. And he has looked really good down the right wing. The Dembele-Cancelo duel has been very intriguing, and it has to be said that Dembele has gotten the better of Cancelo more often than not. And you cannot argue against a strike like that. No better place to strike the ball than send the ball then into the roof of the net. And a wonderful pass from Nuno Mendes, finding Dembele, but unable to direct that into the net. And he knows how close that was. And we should be having some highlights from the Westfalen Stadion. And once we do get some highlights, I think, yep, we do have the thing right now. Hummel sending the ball forward. I recognize that number 15 anywhere. Brandt in the penalty area, and a pretty poor piece of goalkeeping, really, from Jan Oblak. I think it went under his left arm and went in. And Brandt had the chance to equalize with the last kick of the game at the Civitas Metropolitan. This time around, thanks to some pretty poor work there from Oblak, he equalizes at the Westfalen Stadion, and some great work here. Maatsen in the penalty area, and Oblak beaten on that same area, far post. Wonderful strike from Maatsen, who was, of course, at fault for the opening goal for Atletico Madrid. But as it stands, Dortmund are 3-2 up on aggregate, and in dreamland, dreaming of a Champions League semi-final. I know they won it all the way back in the 90s, beating Juventus in the final, but this will be a real shot in the arm for them if they're able to go further. And, of course, it gives them some satisfaction that their closest rival, Schalke, are not doing it all well right now. City usually doesn't cough up a lead this late, and Liverpool and Arsenal probably handed them their fourth straight title last weekend on a silver platter. You know, it is never over until it's over. And Cherries leading Preston. I'm not too sure what, because the Cherries I know obviously are AFC Bournemouth. Yep, that's what they are. Southampton leading Preston. Because the Cherries are Bournemouth. Understandable mistake. Both Bournemouth and Southampton are on the southeast coast. Yep, Southampton 3, Preston North End 0. Some good action from League One as well. The likes of Bolton Wanderers behind to Shrewsbury Town. Not too long ago that they were in the Premiership. How they've fallen. Portsmouth and Barnsley deadlocked at 1-1. Portsmouth, of course, were in the Premiership and FA Cup winners back in the day. And Swindon Town, who are also early members of the Premiership, down 1-0 against Walsall in League Two. Notts County trailing 4-0 to Stockport County at home. And I know that my mate Delboy, is really a big fan of the Irish Premiership, and notable results include Linfield being 2-1 up against Coleraine, Cliftonville trailing to the Crusaders 1-0, Ballymena United leading Glenavon at half-time 1-0, and nothing much else to report. And from the Premier Liga, Sporting Lisbon are leading Famalicão FC 1-0, and of course Ruben Amorim is rumoured to be succeeding Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, but of course no deal has been finalised. And Spence, if you're still in the chat, I'm not too sure why it hasn't really been finalised yet. Maybe they want to wait until the end of the season or maybe the summer. But if Ruben Amorim were to join Would you be interested in having him? I mean, he has proven himself as a manager with the likes of Braga and Sporting Lisbon and had a good playing career with Benfica. And as an Arsenal fan, I know him as the coach who knocked us out of the Europa League last season at the round of 16 stage. Ipswich Town, top of the table, of course. Former Canadian international goalkeeper Craig Forrest was a legend at that club. And from Ipswich, we've had the likes of Chris Kouamia and Richard Wright playing for us. And we should be going back to the Estadio Olympic Luis Companys very soon. I wouldn't be surprised if Atletico were able to respond, but we will, of course, find out everything as it happens. For now, though, my attention is firmly back on the Luis Companys as Barcelona try and hold out. And it would be wonderful to see PSG fail to progress, but I do worry that that sending off has really hampered Barcelona's chances of really trying to get very much out of the game. It will be interesting to see if either side has made any halftime substitutions. Barcelona have already made one, of course, prompted by the sending off. Inigo Martinez coming on for the impressive Lamine Yamal. And PSG now coming out. You do have to feel for Marco Asensio. Didn't have the best of times at Real Madrid under Ancelotti, and even now under Enrique, he's finding it a little bit difficult. But on come the Parisians. Fabian Ruiz taking a sip of water, then spitting it out, taking another sip. And PSG now hoping to break the Barcelona curse. Can they do so? Will there be a moment of magic from the aging yet still more than capable Robert Lewandowski? We will definitely be seeing him at the Euros, of course, with Poland. And we will certainly be seeing the likes of Mbappe and Gundogan and others too. And you have to think that Yamal will definitely be a part of that Spain squad. Barcelona to kick things off. Attacking from right to left this time. A pass back all the way to Stegen, who sends it forward. And that will be a PSG throw. Hakimi, short one to Zaire Emery, who's come back, and Hakimi tries to send it forward. Not the best of passes, really. Gundogan wise to that, but not quite able to really do much with it as he sends it out for a throw. Hakimi once again with the throw. Back to Zaire Emery. Hakimi sends it forward, but still doesn't find the teammate. That is intercepted there by Inigo Martinez. Poor pass, though, and PSG can move forward. Rafinha, the guilty party with that pass. Finding Barcola on the left. Mbappe gets back into the penalty area. Barcola sending it through, trying to get Mbappe. And Mbappe brilliantly wins a corner, I think. Nope. It's a goal kick. Mbappe does believe, in fact, that it came off his countryman Koundé last. But we will find out from the camera angle. Well, you know what? I definitely have reason to say that Mbappe was robbed there. Ter Stegen, who will also be at the Euros, of course, as Germany's number one. Manuel Neuer's days as the Mannschafts goalkeeper are effectively done and dusted. Hakimi receiving that pass from Vitinha. Back to Vitinha now. Marquinhos. Hernandez sending it forward to Barcola on the left. And Rafinha is now effectively having to function as a right wing back of sorts. Vitinha receiving that pass from Zaire Emery. Dembele. He's got Hakimi outside, but Hakimi opting to go it alone. And Kubasi is able to get not Kubasi, that's Pedri rather, who's able to get the better of him. Hakimi with the throw. Back to Marquinhos. Hernandez. Paris Saint-Germain have 45 minutes to save their Champions League involvement. Hakimi. Zaire Emery. Hernandez. Vitinha. Sending it to Barcola on the left again. Rafinha now trying to close him down, but Barcola passes it back to Vitinha. And can Vitinha send it forward? Well, he goes forward, gets the better of Gundogan, finds Barcola with a neat side pass. Barcola to Mbappe now. And that is sent through to Hakimi. And well, I'll tell you what, Ter Stegen is a very, very lucky boy there. I'm not too sure what he was trying to do. I don't know if it skidded off the turf. What should have been a really easy gather for the German goalkeeper ended up becoming a parry of sorts, a volleyball-style parry with his left arm over the bar. Corner shortly taken by Mbappe to Hakimi. Dembele to Hakimi. Dembele then passing it to Vitinha, who sent it into the penalty area, but after a great deal of confusion, Ter Stegen receives the ball. And it looks as though it's Rafinha who's trying to go on his way, and he's put the ball out of play because I do believe there might be a player injured on the ground. Koundé. Well, Barcola getting the ball and trying to send it towards goal, but losing his footing, and Ter Stegen is able to mop it up. Not the best of moments for Ter Stegen prior to that. Should have really claimed that harmlessly. Instead, ended up parrying that over the bar. Had that got into the net, he would have been absolutely distraught. Let me tell you now. Marquinhos. Nuno Mendes. Sending it forward to Fabian Ruiz. Barcola, can he go on a run? This time, Koundé sticks to him. But Barcola moves away from him, and this time Koundé does his duty. And that is what you need to do. You need to stick to your wingers as a fullback. And instead of playing the advantage, well, it's not going to be the advantage because Hernandez is on the floor, and that will, in fact, be a yellow card for Robert Lewandowski. And the cards are coming out thick and fast as we come to the... as we clock the 50th minute. We're just about to clock it right now, and you see here, I'm not too sure there was any real intent from Lewandowski to hurt him, but, it is what it is. And a huge update, of course. It is a Dortmund own goal that has put Atletico Madrid back on parity. So 3-3 on aggregate, 2-1 on the night to Dortmund. And it was Hummels who scored the own goal, a choker there for the veteran, who was, of course, with Bayern Munich before going back to Dortmund, from where he joined Munich, and was, of course, a part of that Dortmund team that could have won the Bundesliga last season, only for Dortmund to choke against, I don't quite remember who they played on the final day, but Jamal Musiala's winning goal against... I think it was Cologne, was enough to win Thomas Tuchel his only piece of silverware. Back to the action on the field. Brilliant ball from Vitinha. Finds Dembele. Dembele can shoot. No, he passes it to Mbappe instead. Ruiz running in! And that wasn't too far away either. And PSG are cutting Barcelona into ribbons. Mbappe very much a part of that. Ruiz timing his run magnificently. All he had to do was turn that into the far corner with Ter Stegen beaten. But as with Dembele in the first half, Ruiz sends it wide. I saw that, Chris. I saw that. Marquinhos sends it out for a Barcelona throw, and that will give the Catalans a little bit of respite. And it shouldn't be long before Xavi makes another substitution. Cancelo with the throw. And Lewandowski with the back heel trying to send Cancelo on his way, but sends that out for a throw. And a lot of excitement, of course, in this game. Of course, the winner will be guaranteed a spot in the semi-final against the winner of tonight's other game. And tomorrow, of course, two juicy clashes. Manchester City against Real Madrid at the Etihad Stadium, and Barcelona against my Arsenal at the Allianz Arena. Dembele sending that into the penalty area, but that is easily blocked away for a throw. Hakimi to take the throw. A short one to Vitinha. Back pass to Marquinhos, who sends it to Hernandez in the middle. Mendes a little bit left and tries to send Barcola forward on the left, and Koundé now has to watch his man carefully, but the distance between him and Barcola means that Barcola can always, move away from him. Mendes now, this time Ruiz, and it's a sort of a double threat there on the left, and Mendes is also not too shabby either. Mbappe, Zaire Emery, no relation to Unai for sure, and Barcelona are happy to concede a corner, but, you can just feel an equalizer coming. All that Ruiz miss proved crucial. It is now Dembele who is set to take the corner, right-footed away swinger this time. A short corner, actually, to Hakimi. Finding Vitinha in the middle. He can shoot, and he can score! And you've got to say that that was really a well-worked piece of football there from Paris Saint-Germain. You can tell that Barcelona have been stretched ever since the sending off of Araujo, and PSG have just been a little bit more relentless and have been more efficient in their play. And I'm not too sure that Enrique will be feeling too much sympathy for his former employers, but well worked there. Vitinha given all the time and space in the world, and there was nothing that Ter Stegen could do about that shot. Outside the penalty area, that is a goal fit to win any tie. And now with the tie finally poised for all an aggregate, Xavi Hernandez, the spotlight is on you, mister. What do you do? Well, Pedri can try and do something down the left, but Lewandowski's come back in, but some great defending there. But Pedri doing some really good work. Lewandowski finding Gundogan! And that wasn't too far away either. Gundogan hasn't had the best of games tonight, but he very nearly got his team back into it. Off the post and wide. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And that is how you respond to going down 2-1 on the night and being tied 4-4 on aggregate. And Kovac there awarding a free kick. And clearly Xavi is not happy with the referee's performance and he needs to calm down. And oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Just what Barcelona didn't need. A red card for the Barcelona coach, and Kovac is not happy. All the drama from the Olympic Stadium, and now you got to be careful there because the assistant coach has also been sent off, and the fourth official there informing the referee of Xavi's outburst, and that had to be fatal. Barcelona are imploding. And with 34 minutes to go, plus stoppages, will that prove fatal? Dembele to Hakimi on the right. Hakimi sending it into the penalty area, but Ter Stegen stands up to be counted, rising up to take that ball. It's all happening thick and fast. That Ruiz miss, thankfully, didn't prove too costly. It could have been against Mainz. Yeah, you're right. Barcelona 1, PSG 2. Not a laughing matter. I do like Xavi Hernandez as a coach. And possibilities here with Pedri now down the left. Cancelo also providing some backup. And it is Cancelo who overlaps and can possibly go down into the penalty area. But not the strongest of headers there from Lewandowski, and Donnarumma is able to gather that. I'm sure a lot of people are laughing, but I'm not too big a fan of Paris Saint-Germain. And some important defending there from Jules Koundé. He hasn't exactly had the better of his duel with Barcola tonight, and that's a poor giveaway there from Inigo Martinez. Ruiz. They're coming in thick and fast, are the Parisians. But Martinez making amends there by shoving Ruiz off the ball. And let's also not forget, as I mentioned, Barcelona's assistant coach was also yellow carded at half-time. So there's no way that they can afford to lose their assistant coach as well. Ruiz. Barcola. Koundé still not able to get the better of him. Out to Zaire Emery. To Dembele on the right. And Cancelo there with an important piece of defending. But, oh, boy! It's gone from bad to worse. Penalty to Paris Saint-Germain. I think Kovac has decided that the foul was inside the penalty area. And Paris Saint-Germain have a chance to go ahead. 3-1 on the night, 5-4 on aggregate. Yep, inside the penalty area. Good decision there from Kovac. I think Cancelo claiming that he got the ball. We'll take a look at that again from this angle. Nope, he clearly got Dembele's foot first, and, you know, the penalty was the only call. The Catalans are falling apart. And it is Kylian Mbappe. As we are about to clock on the hour, he has the chance to put his team ahead. 3-1 on the night, 5-4 on aggregate, and continue potentially his Champions League journey. And Kovac telling ter Stegen to stay at his spot. And Kovac is having none of that. Well, ter Stegen has had a couple of saves tonight. He will need to be on target here, on his game. Mbappe against ter Stegen. Mbappe missed a penalty against Jan Sommer for France in the Euros as they crashed out in the quarterfinal stage. I mean, the second round, rather. And that is a perfect penalty. Ter Stegen going the right way, but unable to stop that from going into the net. High and true. And you can see the Paris Saint-Germain executives looking on almost in disbelief, but a happy disbelief. So as things stand, PSG stand to go through after a real smash and grab at the Olympic Stadium. And the celebrations are taking a little bit too long at the moment. But that has to be the perfect penalty. I think ter Stegen probably went down, but he was never going to be able to save that. Died the right way. And, well, Mbappe scored a hat-trick in the World Cup final, one of which was, of course, with a penalty. Scored in the penalty shootout. It was never going to be in doubt. Heartbreak there for Barcelona, and they have in fact made the substitution. Pedri has gone off and Ferran Torres has gone on. I think it's fair to say that Xavi is now going to go for broke and try and make the team a little bit more attacking, but he probably should have taken off Gundogan instead of Pedri. And a foul there, and that will be a free kick. Another booking, this time for Marquinhos, and the cards are flying. Jumping there and sort of rising on Lewandowski and hurting him, it has to be said. So, Manchester City's treble-winning captain from last year, Ilkay Gundogan, is now in charge of trying to keep his current team in the competition. Chipped into the penalty area. Brilliantly worked. But was there an offside? No, there wasn't. The flag stayed down. And Ferran Torres, the substitute, very nearly had it there. I think he saw his name in lights. For some reason, the flag did stay down, but Ferran Torres wasn't offside, and he nearly had his moment in the sun there, his moment in the spotlight. And Kubasi there trying to mess with Donnarumma. Not really a wise move when your opponent is 6'5". He might be clumsy and not move very well, but he is a very big bloke. Gundogan with the corner. Right-footed, hoping to swing it in. Barcelona got their game winner at the Parc des Princes from a corner. Can they get back into the game from this one? Not quite, but the danger still isn't over for PSG just yet. Gundogan now suddenly with a new lease of life. Rafinha trying to send it forward. It is with Gundogan now. Gundogan, a man possessed, into the penalty area. And, well, they're claiming a penalty, but it looks as though Gundogan died for that. I'm not too sure if he's going to be booked for that. We're going to have to take a look and see. Well, Marquinhos was heading him off there. I'm not too sure if that won't go to... I'll tell you what, VAR should look in on this. In the meantime, has he been booked? And as predicted, the Barcelona assistant coach has gotten sent off. Second bookable offense. Was not the assistant coach, but definitely another one. The cards are flying out, and Gundogan has indeed been booked for what looks like simulation. But I'll tell you what, he did have a claim there. Marquinhos was, of course, shoving him away. And big update, of course, from the Westfalen Stadium. Madrid have made it 2-2 on the night. Correa scoring for Atletico. It all started so well for the home teams, but now it's turning sour. There is still some hope for Barcelona if they can try and come back into this. At the moment, though, they've got to stop Barcola and Ruiz from causing more havoc down the left. And the offside flag helps them. "25 minutes left plus stoppages. It is Barcelona 1, Paris Saint-Germain 3, 4-5 on aggregate. And Barcelona have got to find a way back into the game. They cannot allow PSG to relax. Hakimi, Vitinha now. Back to Marquinhos. Hernandez. Ruiz back to Hernandez. Vitinha. Dembele receiving that ball from Marquinhos. Passing it back to Marquinhos. More sideways action, and Barcelona just going to have to be a little bit more patient. Wait for their next chance to try and catch PSG. Nuno Mendes. Vitinha. I still am dreaming of a Barcelona-Borussia Dortmund semi-final. I don't think I would be able to watch an Atletico Paris Saint-Germain semi-final at all. No chance. Diego Simeone against Luis Enrique. Not something that appeals to me in any way. Of course, Atletico's lead is good news for England because it means that Germany behind in the coefficient. And Spain are Barcelona already behind. Can they fall behind even further? Vitinha receiving that ball from Nuno Mendes. Receiving it back from Zaire Emery. Marquinhos finding Dembele. Dembele sending it in to Ruiz. Hakimi, who's overlapped. Finding Dembele, still on the right. Dembele trying to get into the penalty area and wins a corner off Inigo Martinez. Hakimi with the throw, a short one. Dembele passing it all the way back to Marquinhos. And once again, PSG more than content to try and patiently build up their play and try and draw Barcelona away from them. But Barcelona are now going to have to do a lot more and anticipate PSG's every move. Zaire-Emery to Hakimi. Dembele. And this time Cancelo concedes a corner. Will it be another short one, or will it be swung towards the penalty area this time? Cancelo, of course, who conceded that penalty. You understand why Manchester City saw it fit to get rid of him. And a huge update. Nicolas Füllkrug with a goal. 3-2 to Dortmund on the night, 4-4 on aggregate. It's all happening at the Westfalen Stadium. Maybe I should have done that game instead of this one. Hindsight's 2020. And speculative cross, but Ter Stegen is able to rise and get that. And Barcelona now have to try and break forward, but they just can't. Hakimi now with the ball. Sending it to Mbappe on the left. Mbappe running into the penalty area past Koundé. And he can't find a teammate with that cross. And Cancelo now has to try to... Well, again, Ruiz is there to intercept Cancelo's attempted ball forward. And Hakimi and Dembele engaging in a little interplay. Zaire-Emery now into Hakimi. Back to Zaire-Emery. Vitinha, who scored the equalizing goal before Mbappe's penalty. This is why we love the Champions League, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we absolutely love the Champions League. And of course, if it does end up becoming all square, then I will take you to extra time and potentially penalties at the Westfalen Stadium. I really cannot see Barcelona coming back as we've clocked 70 minutes, 20 minutes to go plus stoppages. PSG just look too dominant. Barcelona look ragged. And I really dislike Paris Saint-Germain a great deal. But, you know, it is what it is. And maybe a French team in the semi-finals will improve their coefficient. Maybe Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and his Marseille team can go further in the Europa League. And if they manage to beat Benfica, they will face the winner of the Liverpool-Atalanta tie. But foul there by Ferran Torres, preventing Hakimi from going forward. And then other French teams in action include Lille, who will be placing Aston Villa on Thursday in the Conference League. And I will hope to get live coverage of that on my television screen. And maybe we can bring you that as we go further. Aston Villa, of course, looking the best placed of all the English teams to go further in European competition, although Manchester City can in no way be discounted. And it was Sabitzer who scored that goal. And, well, apparently a huge update is that Dortmund have actually gone 4-2 ahead. I don't know who scored that. Yeah, it was Sabitzer who scored the fourth goal. Füllkrug scored the third. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. It looks as though we're not going to have extra time at the Westfalen Stadium. Not good news, of course, for England fans, but... definitely great news for the German teams. And it means that Spurs are now going to have to fight even harder to try and get back into Champions League contention. And Mbappe there trying to finish it off in style, but Ter Stegen not having any of that. Getting to the ball before Mbappe does. Ferran Torres trying to move forward. Marquinhos sends him tumbling, and that will be a Barcelona free kick. And you can see Ferran running forward there. Gundogan enterprisingly taking the free kick and finding Rafinha on the right. And Lewandowski is running into the middle. Lewandowski can shoot. Donnarumma can save. And Marquinhos can try and send that away. And finally, the Italian goalkeeper earns his bread tonight. But Barcelona still can attack. Koundé sending it into the penalty area, but nobody on there to collect that. And that bit of attack will give Barcelona a little bit of hope. A big left hand there from the big Italian, and Marquinhos making up for conceding the foul by being there to mop everything up despite the intentions of the substitute Ferran Torres. Ferran Torres also on the books at Manchester City once upon a time. I do believe so. Or was he? Let me confirm that. In the meantime, De Jong there trying to shake off his attacker and eventually getting it back to Koundé, who is forced to pass all the way back to Ter Stegen. Lewandowski now effectively playing as a deep-lying midfielder. Cancelo receiving that from Martinez. Martinez now passing it back to Ter Stegen. And Ter Stegen having to send that all the way forward. And nobody will be able to get on the end of that, and Hakimi should be able to mop that up, which he does. But Donnarumma forced into a hasty clearance, thanks to Rafinha in a way. Ferran Torres, of course, 24 years old. And I'm not too sure what Lewandowski was trying to do over there. He ends up sending that out for a throw. And yes, Torres was in fact on the books at Manchester City from 2020 to 2022. And sadly missed out, of course, on being a part of that Champions League winning team, but did win a few titles at the Etihad. About to clock 75 minutes at the Luis Companys, and PSG almost effectively through to the semi-finals. Barcelona, having started so beautifully, now look to be crashing out. And it looks as though Luis Enrique is going to make a double change. Kang In Lee and Marco Asensio, who were dropped to the bench for this game, look to be coming on. Bradley Barcola, one of the men to be coming off, and we'll find out who the other one is. Trying to sort of keep the game tied up a little bit. And Mbappe finding it is with Nuno Mendes now, and I think the substitution will be made once this ball goes out of play. And it is, in fact, a Barcelona goal kick, so that will provide some time for... No, it's a corner, in fact. I stand corrected, and the substitution will be made anyway. Kang In Lee coming on for Bradley Barcola, and Marco Asensio will be coming on for Fabian Ruiz. So both Ruiz and Barcola were magnificent down the left for PSG tonight. And I think it's fair to say that Enrique is just looking to try to... tighten things up and prevent Barcelona from getting anything back from this game. But Barcelona have looked dangerous, and Gundogan has been at the heart of that. Any more comments? Corner to be taken by Dembele. Another short one. And it is Mendes who sends it back into Dembele, and that's a pretty poor cross, really. No one on the end of that. "77 minutes gone. And Barcelona staring on the brink of Champions League elimination on their home turf. But can they find a way back in? The ball sent through to Rafinha, but he's got two defenders alongside him, and I'm not too sure if he was trying to cross that or shoot that. He ends up putting it wide with his left foot. Maybe he would have been better off passing it to Lewandowski, who was running in, but hindsight is 2020. Great play here again. Gundogan very much at the heart of that. And just when I was thinking that the Turkish German should have been substituted, he now seems to have gotten some sort of a second wind. And remember, it was two stoppage time goals that turned the tie around and won it for Barcelona against PSG. Neymar and Sergio Roberto. Roberto is, of course, on the bench tonight. So, with Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain, it will not be over until it's over. Dembele against Koundé. And Kovac points to the corner flag. I think it took a deflection. It looks as though another substitution is being made. Ugarte will be coming on to shore things up at the back. And who does he replace tonight? Looks as though Marquinhos might be walking off, maybe. Dembele to Kang-in Lee. Hakimi. Forward to Dembele. Nuno Mendes, can he shoot? No, he opts to pass it to Mbappe on the left. And that is sent in, but no way was that going to trouble Ter Stegen. I believe that was Hernandez there tried to send it in, and Vitinha heads it along the ground all the way back to Donnarumma. Any more comments? As it stands, both the Spanish teams will be going out tonight, so the pain in Spain is mainly in these two games. The pain of Spain. And it looks as though it will be Zaire Emery who will be coming off, so Ugarte will be coming on. Another defensive substitution there from Luis Enrique. Zaire Emery has put in a good shift tonight. Manuel Ugarte coming on, number 4. And we've just clocked the 80 minutes at the Luis Companys. It is Barcelona 1, Paris Saint-Germain 3, 4-5 on aggregate. So Barcelona and Xavi Hernandez have 10 minutes left to save their campaign. One goal, though, as it stands, could send the tie into extra time. Cancelo hoping to find Rafinha, but Nuno Mendes saying no. And Kang-in Lee receiving that back-headed pass there from Dembele. Ugarte with his first touch. Nuno Mendes sending it forward. Mbappe, and Dembele is on the far left wing. And then another move of desperation. It looks as though Xavi Hernandez will be bringing on a couple of substitutes. Fermin and João Felix. Kubasi with the ball, sending it forward to Rafinha. And Rafinha up against Nuno Mendes. And that will be a Paris Saint-Germain throw. And it will very well be Fermin Lopez and João Felix who will be coming on. João Felix replacing Cancelo, Chelsea for Manchester City. And Fermin Lopez will be replacing, who will he be replacing? Frenkie de Jong. So Gundogan will still be on the pitch, but Frenkie de Jong and Cancelo will be off. And so Xavi now staking everything on attack. It looks as though he might end up moving to 3 at the back and maybe 4 in the midfield. And all Xavi Hernandez can do is watch from the stands as his Champions League dreams as manager end up crumbling all the way around him. Felix's first touch was not the best, and PSG can once again build patiently. And It is still 4-2 at the Westfalen Stadium, so unless Atletico Madrid are able to score an equaliser, as Chelsea fan has said, both Spanish teams will be going out tonight. But a chance here if Ferran Torres can get in, but Nuno Mendes says no. But Gundogan can come on to the end of that, and Mendes has to be there to intercept that and concede a throw. I tell you right now, the former Manchester City captain seems to have gotten a second win tonight, and as long as these Barcelona fans believe, it's still not over. But even if they do manage to go through, it's a very costly win because they will be without Araujo and both Xavi Hernandez and one of their assistant coaches for the semi-final. And they have, in fact, won a free kick, so it's still not over. Marco Asensio, of course, the former Real Madrid midfielder/winger, coming on to try and secure the tie for his new team. And that is Frenkie de Jong taking his seat on the bench. And is that Rafinha standing over the kick? Yes, it is. 6 minutes to go plus stoppages, and there will be plenty. Barcelona 1, Paris Saint-Germain 3. Rafinha chips it into the penalty area, but I'll tell you what, Gundogan was in fact coming for that, and has the referee awarded a penalty? I don't think he has. Wonderfully chipped in free kick, but I think he might have signaled for an offside there with Lewandowski just not timing his run very well. Was he punched, though, by Donnarumma? Donnarumma, once again, rising forward and completely missing it, and I think he has caught Lewandowski in the head. But I think it might be an offside against Lewandowski. Yep, offside confirmed, and that chance goes begging. The Polish captain there, not quite timing his run very well, and we've just clocked 85 minutes at the Luis Companys Olympic Stadium. It is Barcelona 1, Paris Saint-Germain 3, 4-5 on aggregate. A long kick headed back by Koundé, but Paris Saint-Germain should have the ball. Asensio trying to send Mbappe through, but too far for the France captain. And brilliant ball, and wonderfully intercepted there. I think that's Ferran Torres, who has been an absolute live wire since coming on. Lewandowski with the ball. Gundogan, a lot will be expected of him now. Inigo Martinez has now come up. Rafinha coming up on the left. And I think Fermin Lopez was hoping to try to get that, but he was never really going to be in the picture. So Barcelona are still fighting, and they are not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. There you can see the faces. They look exceptionally glum. Faces of the Barcelona supporters, that is. And Donnarumma taking his own sweet time. That will be sent forward. Jules Koundé to Kubasi, who passes it back to Stegen. And Kubasi gets it back. Kubasi has looked good for the most part. For 3 halves of the 4, he's been splendid, but he's now gotten a taste of how cruel football can be in the second half. And PSG are just strolling now. They know that they're pretty much through. There's no way they're going to allow Barcelona to get back into this game. It still isn't over, but there are only 3 minutes left, plus stoppages. And some great work there, though, and Barcelona do win the ball back. Lewandowski, he's got Torres. He opts to shoot, and he wins the corner. And Torres was, in fact, wide open, but I'll tell you what, a corner is not small potatoes. Poland captain perhaps getting a little bit greedy there, but winning a corner off Marquinhos. And the Poland captain realizing his mistake, but 2.5 minutes to go. A corner won it for Barca in the opening leg, and Substitution made, and it is Randal Kolo Muani, the man who very nearly won France the World Cup, replacing his compatriot and teammate for club and country, of course, Ousmane Dembele. So it looks as though Luis Enrique sees Kolo Muani as an option for a counter-attacking goal. And that was a brilliant corner there, tipped over by Donnarumma. It was swinging in. Rafinha really put his laces through that. And it's a short corner this time around. And Barcelona are knocking on the door. Gundogan in the penalty area. Not the best of passes, though. And PSG can break. Hakimi. Mbappe. Saved by Ter Stegen. But Vitinha. Saved again by Ter Stegen. And this time around, Mbappe makes no mistake. Looks as though I got someone knocking on my door. I'm not too sure. I'll have to be back in a minute. I do apologize for that. A stupid emergency, and now I'm back. And I think it's fair to say that Barcelona were always going to be weak on the counter. 7 minutes have been added on, but as things stand, PSG will be going through, and Barcelona, their fans are absolutely crushed and heartbroken. Seriously, no way back for the Spaniards from this. And this will almost certainly be Xavi Hernandez's farewell to Barcelona, as he is expected to leave the club at the end of the season. And if he does manage another European club in the Champions League, he will be suspended for the first game now. Barcelona still trying to find something to see if they can get a consolation. And of course, with Paris Saint-Germain having scored 4 away goals, if the away goals rule were still in vogue, then even if Barcelona were to score 2, Mbappe there with an outrageous attempt to try and score a 5th, but denied brilliantly by Ter Stegen. And Lewandowski now, maybe he can provide some hope. Gundogan, though. Nope. Unable to find João Felix, and Hakimi mops that up. Basically, what happened was from the corner, Barcelona had all their men forward, and effectively it was just a breakaway goal. I believe it was Mbappe and another player who had their shot saved, but once it fell to Mbappe close to the goal, he was never going to miss, and that was pretty much it. And I do apologize for having had to leave. It was another ridiculous emergency, needless emergency, but what can you do? Luis Enrique, coming back to Barcelona, gaining a smidgen of revenge, and ending PSG's Barcelona curse. No, I didn't implode. I'm perfectly fine, thank you. And I've just received an update that it has, in fact, ended at the Westfalen Stadium with a bit of a shock result, if you want to call it that. Atletico Madrid being knocked out. So as soon as stoppage time finishes here at the Olympic Stadium, I will be ending the stream. Not before saying goodbye to all of you. And you can just see how wistful they look. The tears are starting to fall. It started so beautifully, but once Ronald Araujo got sent off in that first half, it was downhill. They just couldn't control their emotions. And I think it's fair to say that Istvan Kovac will not be a very loved man in Barcelona tonight. Kubasi sending it forward, and that has gone out for... Oh. It's actually a Barcelona throw. 2 minutes left of stoppage time. There's no way that Barcelona can take this into extra time as far as I'm concerned. Rafinha getting past Hakimi. Finds Lewandowski, but Mendes and Donnarumma will mop that up. I know Twitter's going to be going crazy at the moment, and I'll see you soon, Chelsea fan. Thank you very much indeed for joining in and always supporting the channel. Tomorrow, of course, I won't be doing the watch along on this channel. I will be on Danny AFC TV for Bayern Munich against Arsenal. But on Thursday, I hope to be back for Aston Villa against Lille, maybe. And we will, of course, provide updates from Atalanta against Liverpool and West Ham against the newly crowned Bundesliga champions, Bayer Leverkusen. Kang In Lee to Kalemwani. And is sent back, and it is with Mbappe, who eventually controls it, but the offside flag says, sorry, Kylian, back you go. You just went a bit too far. Into the last minute of time added on. I don't think there will be any more minutes added on. And I know that you will obviously, Chris, be supporting Jonathan David and his men. Of course, in French, it would be allez, of course. But for me, I'm well behind Unai Emery, Emi Martinez, Callum Chambers and company. And Rafinha has been booked, and Kovac is now trying to install more calm to proceedings. The cards have flown tonight. And you've got to say for Barcelona, they had it all in their hands, but a huge implosion has meant that they are now about to exit the Champions League. I'll just prepare some banners right now. And I can tell you that it is full time at the Luis Companys. And I will prepare that banner right now. And a lovely sight to see some Barcelona fans still waving their scarves. They know that their team had, you know, the odds against them. The Paris Saint-Germain boys are celebrating. They know what a big win this was. You do have to feel for Barcelona in a way, but it has to be said that their callowness and their lack of experience pretty much cost them in the end. And absolutely heartbreaking for Xavi Hernandez and his young boys. But while Xavi won't be back to manage Barcelona, these young boys will take the team forward. And as far as Luis Enrique, the former Barcelona player and manager, is concerned, quite happy to see his team win. And the Barcelona players now facing their fans. And absolutely crestfallen and distraught. The fine margins between victory and defeat. And coverage has, of course, just ended at the Westfalenstadion. I couldn't see Borussia Dortmund players celebrating, but confirmation, of course, from the other game. Borussia Dortmund have beaten Atletico Madrid 4-2 on the night. They win the tie 5-4 on aggregate, and now, as a result, Paris Saint-Germain will play Borussia Dortmund in the semi-finals of the 2024 Champions League. Both Spanish teams that have played tonight are out, so as I've said, the pain of Spain was mainly in these two games. Full time. Arsenal Liverpool will also get knocked out this week, and fifth might not get us the Champions League spot. So maybe some hope could be that Aston Villa might end up winning the Conference League, but even then, that's not really guaranteed. Villa, of course, will be taking a 2-1 lead to Lille to play, but Lille are a decent side with Jonathan David and the former France international World Cup winner Samuel Umtiti in their team. And they are playing a good brand of football, and Villa will have been disappointed to concede a goal at Villa Park. Emi Martinez deserved a clean sheet, but I think after the win over Arsenal, they will be motivated and confident going into that tie. And I really despise Paris Saint-Germain a great deal, but you know, you've got to say that on the balance of things, they just handled the occasion better. Barcelona imploded. And you've got to give Borussia Dortmund a lot of credit. They showed magnificent spirit and they completely sent Diego Simeone's all-star side packing. And I think it's fair to say that for quite a few of those players, they may have played their last games for the club. But tantalizing semi-final. I know that the Germans going through is bad news for England in terms of the coefficient and subsequently the number of teams that will end up going through. But I will be cheering Dortmund on because I do not like Paris Saint-Germain one bit. As far as the other German team, there's no way I'll be cheering them on because they're playing my lot. And, of course, back to the scenes at the new camp. The devastation, the desolation is clear on the faces of the young players. They will have their time next year, one would imagine, under a new manager. And as far as Paris Saint-Germain are concerned, they negotiate this tie and they go through. The fine margins of victory and defeat and the polarizing reactions. But it has been a night of drama, and thankfully, with the results going the way they've gone, I do not need to stay up and provide you coverage of extra time and penalties, be it from the Luis Companys or the Westfalenstadion. Final confirmation of the result. Our main game saw Paris Saint-Germain beat Barcelona 4-1 on the night, recovering from going down 1-0 as Barcelona imploded. And they will go through to the semi-finals, and they will face Borussia Dortmund, who shocked Atletico Madrid 4-2 at the Westfalenstadion. And that will be a wonderful atmosphere on that day, hosting a Champions League semi-final tie. I think it might be their first Champions League final since winning it back in the day. But both Spanish teams out. Pain of Spain, mainly in tonight's games. And it will be France against Germany in one of the semi-finals. And we've got Germany and England and Spain and England contesting the other two, and we're into the scenes now at the Westfalenstadion where the Dortmund players are celebrating with their fans. They look to be in a bit of a spot of bother until they scored that goal from Sebastian Haller at the Civitas Metropolitan, and Julian Brandt, of course, very nearly got the equaliser there, but he did put the team ahead. Ian Maatsen scoring a second, Nicholas Füllkrug scoring a third, and Wolfgang Sabitzer scoring the fourth. Disappointment for the likes of Cesar Azpilicueta, Alvaro Morata and company. And you can see how much this means to Mats Hummels and company. And you wonder whether for some of the Atletico Madrid players, whether they will experience Champions League football at the club again. And for Dortmund and their players, it's a special night, and they deserve to celebrate and take it all in. And Antoine Griezmann there staring into the skies. His France captain goes through, but he goes out. And they are sitting there in front of their fans, taking in the acclaim, as they should. A wonderful European night at the Westfalenstadion. And of course, Dortmund and Paris Saint-Germain were in the same group. Paris Saint-Germain, of course, beginning the campaign on a very inauspicious note with a chastening defeat to Newcastle at St. James's Park. They, in fact, drew the return match, controversially, of course, with a Kylian Mbappe penalty deep into stoppage time, and ended up finding their way through while Newcastle and AC Milan went out. AC Milan went into the Europa League. And, of course, they are 1-0 down to Roma. And they will, of course, be fighting for their lives on Thursday. And we will take a look at the Dortmund goals. Brandt, of course, once again, receiving that and finding a way past Jan Oblak, who had 4 put past him. Not a good night, really, for the Slovenian goalkeeper. Ian Maatsen, beautiful strike into the far corner. Oblak beaten hook, line, and sinker. Corner. Low and true, and Oblak had no chance, and the Westfalenstadion went wild. But Brandt, of course, turning provider this time. And a glancing header there from Füllkrug, who received that header from Sabitzer, the number 20. Beautiful stuff there. Glancing it past Oblak, who was rooted to the spot and couldn't get on the end of that. And are his days of Atletico Madrid numbered? And the fourth goal, Brandt in the thick of it. Sabitzer receiving the ball, able to shoot, and finds the far corner on 74 minutes, sending Dortmund into dreamland. And Atletico's players were in a chain strip of blue and white tonight. And the Dortmund fans hailing that result What a night for them. And of course, we've just clocked 2 hours and 20 minutes over here, and I will end the stream right now. I want to say thank you to everyone who joined in. Spencer Stewart, Chris Mossing, Chelsea fan, also Wolf Fang and others. And thanks a lot for joining in once again and making this stream what it is. And I will, in fact, be ending this right now. But thanks a lot once again, and hope to see you all again soon. Until then, take care of yourselves, be safe, be happy. Don't do anything that Hannah or I wouldn't do. But for now, we're out. See you all soon.